When we get our new house, it will be for the new house.
If we ever get a new house. We've got
updates.
Oh, we said we would give the update. We gotta give the house update. Oh my god. Are you ready for this?
I'm going to give approximate numbers so that you have some perspective to this. So if I don't say the exact number, there's...
Well, why don't we just go with 100? And we can go with the numbers in there from 100.
So, the house cost $163,000 originally.
Mm-hmm.
We offered...
125.
125. I forgot. We offered 125 because we spoke with our realtor, we spoke with their realtor, we spoke with our lender, and we've seen a ton of houses in the area.
And that's what we thought the house was worth. And again, this is just approximations, just like... That's not what the actual number was. This is just for your
example
purposes.
Yeah. So we offered $125,000. They came back to us with $153,000, which is a whole lot more than we offered.
And we thought they were going to come back at 140, 135, somewhere in there.
We also said that we needed a January 1st closing, which according to them had seemed like they would be okay with it. They came back with a December 1st closing, which was not ideal. So we decided...
I told them...
We're good.
No thanks,
that's
I'm good.
That's way above what we think the house is going to appraise for, and we're not going to offer more than the house appraises for.
I was like, have fun, good luck, right. Godspeed.
So...
They came back with us then at, well, our lowest number, we don't want to go below 145.
Right.
And I said, it's really nice to want things. I guarantee you we're going to hear from them later. And we did!
Well, less than a week later, they reduced the cost of the house. They brought it down to $150?
It was after Labor Day. They waited until Labor Day, which is what we said was going to happen. They waited until after Labor Day, and they brought it down to 145, which is what they said they didn't want to go below. And then 2 days later, they brought it down to 140. And then 2 days later, we got a phone call while I was live on Crochet Vision. And we got a call from my realtor and said, you'll never guess who I heard from. And I was like, oh, I bet you we know because we've seen what's happening because we've been paying attention to the MLS. We've been paying attention to everything that's going on because we don't know what we're going to do next.
Right.
And we're just kind of watching what's going on in the general area. We're not looking yet. We're kind of just waiting to see what's coming up on the market, what's going to happen. We're just keeping our eyes open. And they're like, okay, well, their new offer is $130 December 1st.
We made it abundantly clear to them that the most important thing to us was the January 1st closing date. Because I'm going to be deployed and cannot do a December 1st closing date because I cannot physically be there and I cannot physically get to a lawyer's office or the person that stamps and watches you sign stuff. Thank you, a notary. I cannot physically get to a notary or lawyer that day. Cannot do December 1st. It has to be January 1st.
Which, it is what it is. It's fine. But regardless of that, we had so many red flags up at this point. I was ready to walk. And my realtor was like, do you want to counter? And I was like, no, absolutely not. They're so far off from where we were. Was I willing to come up in the middle? Sure. And then we waited literally a month and we heard from them yesterday and they still were $5,000 up. You waited a month and you're $5,000 up from what we were offering you originally a month ago?
Yep.
Are you crazy?
And now they've lowered the price that they're asking for on all the websites and everything. That they've, had they had that price originally, we would have offered 100, not 130 or 125, sorry.
So they're going at this thinking that they're meeting us in the middle. And had they gone to that point a month ago, sure, that would have been my offer. But no, you're playing games, and that's not the way this works.
Right.
So, no.
Yeah, after Labor Day, in the area that we're looking at, houses typically lower in price. They put their house on the market right before Labor Day, and we're 99% sure that we are the only offer that they have received.
So I told my realtor, tell them that they goofed, and our offer is now 100.
Yep.
And they came back to us with 130 January 1st, to which I said, stop wasting my time.
Yeah. So we might hear back from them in another couple weeks when they realize how much they goofed and that we're the only person that's potentially looking to buy their house. But
I literally said, I was willing to budge. I was willing to come up to 110, 115. I was willing to work with them, but they said they didn't want to go below 130. And I'm at this point, I'm like, again, it's nice to want things. You're playing games. You don't want to negotiate. You have your number. I'm like, that's fantastic. A month ago, I would have done that. A month ago. But now you're also, I don't know what's going to come up with inspection. I don't know what's going to come up with appraisal. I don't know what else is going to happen with your house. And I don't trust you right now.
And this is also the same house that we had seen a bunch of discrepancies between what they claimed and then what they had put on the seller's disclosure.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I've shown the house online to a couple of my friends, and one of them pointed out some stuff on the roof, and he's like, you're probably going to have issues there, and there's nothing disclosed about it.
Yep.
And it's not something that I would have just like recognized off the bat. He's bought a couple houses before,
There's
so he
rust
was
on
like,
the
hey,
roof.
watch out for that right there. You're probably going to have some issues.
The house needs a roof.
Yeah.
The deck has has problems, and the driveway
is non-existent.
Is non-existent, and it's supposed to be there. And guess what? I'm negotiating the crap out of those things. I'm not playing games. Like, I'm not a first-time home buyer anymore. I know what I'm doing now, which thankfully I feel so much more confident going into this.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, when we bought our current house, I had no idea what I was doing. I was so nervous, and I'm so grateful that I do have that experience under our belt.
Yeah.
But, and I don't think I would have changed much, except, like, there were 2 or 3 things that I would have changed.
Right.
But I feel, and that was with closing.
Yeah.
Like, day of closing that I would have changed, now that we know what happened.
Right.
And how things transpired.
Right.
Dealing with things that were in the contract. But other than that, I wouldn't have changed anything else with how we bought this house.
Right.
But knowing, like, going into this with 0 expectations and 0 contract, I'm not messing around. And at this point in time, your cards, you've played all of your cards. You drop the price of the house twice in a week. I know I'm your only offer, and you're still playing games. And the realtor has said that. It seems like their realtor is really not happy, like, that they're playing these games.
Yeah, I think their realtor is a fairly new realtor, and then on top of that, they're playing games.
Yeah.
And we're like, you played yourself.
And my realtor even said to their realtor, look, don't call me in 2 weeks and say that now they're dropping the price again, because then this offer is not on the table. Yeah, and it's going to be even lower.
Yeah, he told him that our offer, if they call back in 2 weeks and try to give us the same offer, that our offer will be 90.
Yeah, will be 90, because they're just playing games, and I was like, I love you.
Yeah,
you read my mind, because I was willing to negotiate, and now you're just playing games.
Yeah,
you're just playing games, and I don't
appreciate it.
I don't appreciate it.
Yeah.
And you've literally played your cards that you're not willing to negotiate. You have your numbers, and they didn't even come down to our first offer.
You're right.
You didn't even come down to our first offer of 125. You're stuck at 130. Be stuck for that for another month. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care, because I'm not giving you that now.
Right.
I was willing to talk to you today, and now I'm not.
Yep.
So that's our house update.
House update 4!
And that just tells me that this wasn't the place.
Maybe. They might come back to us and be like, we are so sorry, we goofed. Like, you never know. They could figure out something, or maybe it wasn't meant to be and they get an offer for what they want. And honestly, I don't have any ill will towards these people. Like, I hope they sell their house for what they ask for, but at the same time, they're jerking us around, and I'm not going to get jerked around just because they...
I'm in no rush. I'm in no rush. There's so much on the market right now, especially in this general area, that we'll find what's meant to be. And I just... my red flag radar is going off with these people.
Yeah. And we've also got our eye on one of the other houses that we saw.
Yeah.
That they haven't reduced the price on it yet, but at this point, it's been on the market for like a month and a half.
It's been on the market for like 8 to 9 days.
Okay. So almost 3 months. And they haven't reduced the price at all yet. So if and when they reduce the price, we may put an offer in on this different house. Which...
or there's some other stuff I'm willing to go look at.
When we went and saw this house, we really liked it, but there were some issues with how we would do the financing for it that we were like, okay, we might not be able to make this one work for the price that they are asking. So if we get it for less, we would probably be able to make the financing work. So
there's a lot of balls in the air.
Yeah.
And the longer we wait, right now, things are just...
yeah, the longer we wait right now, the better they get.
better they get.
So.
And we're not in any rush.
Nope.
And the longer we wait, the more videos you guys get to see of terrible houses. You know?
So.
Boy, oh boy, do we have an update for you guys.
Yeah, this one's nuts.
So where we left off with the last story, they had offered us 1:30 January 1st closing, and we told them to pack sand. Well, we then heard from them the next day, and they came back to us with 1:20 January 2nd close. And we're like, interesting. So we talked to our realtor, we talked about it, and we decided that we said 1:15 January 2nd, you got yourselves a deal.
Now, at this time, I had shown pictures of the house to a friend of mine, and he was like, hey, there's something on the roof in that picture. I've seen that before. You got to be wary of that. You should probably make sure that you have concessions in that contract with that offer.
It looked like a giant rust stain on the roof. And we'd been lied to before from these people from the get-go.
Right. And the rust stain was not just below this little chimney that was coming out. It was above, below, to the sides of it. Like, it was all around it, which was really weird to us. So we had said to them 1:15 with concessions.
And the realtor came back, the seller's realtor came back and said, oh, well, it was already 1:15 because we were going to give you $5,000 for concessions for inspection. And I said to my realtor, I was like, whoa. No, I don't want their $5,000 for concessions. That's not going to be enough. And he's like, what? I'm like, that house needs a new roof. The house needs a new roof. It's supposed to have a driveway and it doesn't. That deck is hiding some things. Like, it needs some stuff. Like, I'm sure inspections are coming back and there's going to be problems.
Yep.
I don't know what other problems are going to come back, but it at least needs a new roof.
Yeah.
He's like, what do you mean it needs a new roof? I'm like, I send him pictures from what's in the listing online. Yeah. So he sends the pictures to his roofer. He reaches out to the seller's realtor, and the seller's realtor says they got a new roof when they bought the house. And all of us are like, no, which is not what they said to us when we met them, when we looked at the house either. My realtor's roof guy got back to him and goes, whoa, that stain? That roof is at least 15 to 20 years old, and if it's not hiding anything, it's going to be a minimum of $12,000 to fix.
Right. So if they were offering us the $5,000 in concessions and we had accepted that, we would have gotten no additional concessions for anything else that was found within the house, including that roof that would cost $12,000 to fix.
So these sellers were lying to their realtor. They had no idea when the roof was put on the house, when they bought it. And we're like, okay, so 1:15, concessions for the roof, concessions for anything else that comes up in inspections, you have a deal. They were writing up the contract. They were writing up the paperwork.
And within like that hour time span from the time that they said, okay, and like an hour later, we got a phone call from our realtor. Hey, their realtor just called me. They're not accepting that offer anymore.
They
So
changed their minds.
They changed their minds. They're not accepting that offer anymore. So I told them that they better not come back to me in 2 weeks with the same offer, because then our number is going to be 90. That's, which is really funny because that's literally what Sarah and I had said earlier to each other, not to our realtor. So that's like, he is so like on the same wavelength as us when it comes to that. It's ridiculous. So that house, we were not going to continue negotiating with them between all the lies and everything else. We were like,
And there were some lies in the seller's disclosure as well. Like, there was some weird, funky stuff.
Yeah.
And so then this weekend...
Well, before we get to that.
Okay.
So when we were in the moment of dealing with the seller's disclosure and talking with them and communicating back and forth, there was a bunch of things in the seller's disclosure, and I'm pretty sure we had mentioned this in another video, where they kind of contradicted each other a little bit, where it was like, oh, we're on sewer, but then they're like, the septic tank has been inspected in the last 7 years and has no issues. And it's like, wait, are you on sewer or are you on septic? And then there was other things. There was a lot of things like that where it
city
came
water,
city water and well
water,
water, like, and then
attic fan.
Yep, the attic fan not passing or not working, but then it also says that there is no attic fan. Literally, like, every single question, it seemed that was like that, they answered in contradictory to themselves. So that was a little weird, and that was a bunch of back and forth between the 4 different parties to get answers made and everything. So that was annoying as heck. But at the time, it seemed like it's just people that were a little confused by the questions. They weren't quite sure what they were answering.
It seemed like an honest mistake.
Yeah, it seemed like an honest mistake. And that's what they said. The guy had said something along the lines of, I was really tired when I was doing it. I must not have read the questions properly. And some of the questions were worded poorly.
Right.
Like, I'm pretty good at word comprehension questions. And when I was reading, I was like, wait a second. Are they asking this or this? And I had to ask my realtor to get a confirmation one way or the other. So we were like, oh, okay, that could just be that. But in hindsight, it's probably that they were lying.
So this past weekend, I was at a craft show and I was looking for pictures of the house to show my friend to tell her all this stuff that was happening, because I was pretty sure in the next few days we were going to hear something else, just because that's been the trend and that's what's been happening.
Right.
And we heard nothing. And I was like, interesting. And I was looking for the house.
Particularly to show her the picture of the roof. Because we were telling her the story that we're basically telling you guys now.
And I couldn't find it. And so I typed in the address and it says, house is not on the market. And I was like, what?
So she tells me, Ben, they took the house down. It's no longer listed. So I hopped on Zillow, typed it in there, wasn't there. And then I also went to Redfin, typed it in there, wasn't on there. So it wasn't on any of the
sites. It wasn't on Realtor, Homes, Zillow, Redfin.
None of them.
Any of them.
So Sarah reached out to our realtor in our group chat and was like, hey,
the house isn't on the market anymore?
Question mark? And I turned to Sarah and I said, what do you want to bet that their realtor fired them as a client for all the lies? And she's like, you should say that to our realtor. And so I did in the group chat. I was like, what are the odds that their realtor fired them? And not even 5 minutes later, our realtor comes back to us and says, that's exactly what happened. Here's the text message. And he sent us a screenshot of the conversation between him and the seller's realtor, where our realtor said something along the lines of, hey, I see that the property's not listed anymore. What happened with that? And their realtor said, yeah, I was tired of all the lies and everything that was going on between them to me, so we mutually decided to part ways, and I pulled the listing. So that house isn't for sale anymore?
For sale anymore.
I guess. Which is kind of nuts.
That poor guy really wanted to move to Florida, but not bad enough not to lie, so don't know.
Or maybe bad enough to lie because he knew that there was some really bad things.
Stuff happening with the house. Anyway, we dodged a bullet, I think.
Potentially. Or it could just be that this guy, shoved his foot in his mouth and was trying to be greedy. I don't know.
I haven't seen it go back up on the market.
Right.
So I don't know if they found another realtor or what the deal's gonna be, but
yeah,
that's the update.
Yep. And it's kind of crazy, like, thinking about it, because when we can see when they bought the house, we can see how much they bought it for originally in the listing. And we can see that from when he bought it to when he was trying to sell it, it more than doubled in value.
They're trying to, like, more than triple it in value.
Right. And so they're selling it because they want to move down to Florida, which, you know, a lot of people are tired of Florida. That's fine. If they sell the house for what they were trying to sell it for now, they would get all the money back that they put into it, plus, you know, an extra 50 to 100% of what they bought it for, which is more than enough to do a very nice down payment on a house down in Florida. The house that we were looking at, they also said that the house was too big for them, so they'd be trying to downsize in size of the house. They could get a very nice house and then still have money left over from the sale. So it kind of blows my mind that they were trying to, like, nickel and dime it when we're the only people that are interested in the house.
And it was
an interesting setup to the house. Like, we're in a very unique situation where the layout of the house would have worked perfectly for us, but there were some weird things to it. So, like, I almost feel like they should have been the ones trying to play ball harder, when in reality of the situation, we were the ones that were, like, we kept coming to them and kept trying to deal with them.
Well, and especially because after the first time we walked away, they had to have known the second time I was not playing games.
Right.
You know, for them to come back to us then 3 times, it was kind of a joke at that point.
And it was like, we were pretty clear on on what we were looking for. Actually, no, we were 100% clear of what we were looking for from the very beginning. We gave them a price. We gave them a closing date. We told them that we couldn't do a closing date earlier than that closing date because of military obligations.
Right.
And then they kept trying to play with that. And we're like, we can't play with that. Like, if you want to play with the price a little bit, okay, we can play with the price a little bit. But you want to play with that date, we can't play with that date. Like, it cannot happen. We cannot do it. So the fact that they kept trying to play with that when we were very upfront with what we needed was just weird.
It was just, the whole situation was interesting in general, but I'm interested to see if the house is going to go back up on the market. I'm interested to see what's going to happen. I want to know what they're going to relist it at if they do relist it, because Lord knows we know what happened.
Yeah. One of my friends who is a realtor, when I told him the saga, he told me that since we already know, like, all the stuff that's gone on with this, that we should approach them with our realtor, them directly, get him to represent both of us, and offer them the 90 with concessions and see what they say. Because then they don't have to pay their realtor in addition to it, or, like, it's a less percentage or whatever it is because one realtor is representing both clients or whatever. It was just an idea he threw out. But honestly, at this point, I'm not sure I want to deal with this house.
I don't want to know what else they're hiding.
I want to know what else they're hiding.
But I don't want to...
I want to know what else they're hiding, but not enough for it to become my problem.
I don't want it to be our problem.
Yeah. But that was just an idea that my realtor friend threw out to me when I told him the saga. Excuse me.
I'm like, I feel like they're hiding other stuff.
Yeah. They probably are. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a major plumbing or foundation issue.
Or that addition is not legal.
Yeah, or that the addition's not legal. Honestly, though, getting, like, in that area, getting a permit on an addition should be a very easy thing.
But the addition's already there. I don't know if it would be that easy once it's already there.
It shouldn't be much of an issue.
I don't know.
Especially if the permitting comes from the sale of the house. It's like, if the new people want that addition, the addition's already there. They don't deny those types of additions in general in that area. Usually that's just, you do the paperwork for the permitting, and then the seller has to pay a little bit of a fine for not getting the permit in the first place. So that is what we believe to be the conclusion of this portion of the house hunting saga, at least the house hunting saga for that house. I think it's safe to say the door has closed on that one.
Yeah, I think we're done with that house.
Yeah, I think we're done with that house, with those people, and I hope that their realtor finds better clients in the future.
I felt so bad for this poor realtor.
Yeah, our guy thought that this was like his first deal or close to his first, so I feel really bad for him.
Well, and he was really getting frustrated with them from the get-go, so like, I felt really, really bad for this poor guy. But I'm also just so grateful that we're not first-time home buyers, because
we would have fallen into that trap hard.
Oh, yeah.
We would have fallen in so hard.
Oh, yeah. I mean, even our realtor didn't know. Like, I looked at those pictures and knew there was something wrong with that roof, but we would have gone in with no concessions.
I don't think we would have, contingent upon appraisal. I think, if we had found out that it needed a new roof, we would have been like, hey, either you fix it or we're out, and then we would have just been out our earnest money.
Yeah.
If that.
But if you like this video, guys, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you subscribe. If you haven't already, I do have a second channel, Crochet Vision.
That's the primary channel. This is the secondary.
My primary channel. Do all sorts of fun crochet stuff over there of a website, crochetvision.com. Check that out. There's some fun stuff over there. And we'll see you in the next one.
She lied. We're not done. So, I look at the analytics for these videos a lot. And last time I checked, 53% of the people that are watching these videos are not subscribed, and they come back. So if you think you're subscribed, if you can do me a huge favor, just check down below. Make sure you're actually subscribed. Hit that little ding bell. Make sure you get notifications that we post something new.
He gave you guys hand hearts.
Yeah. Hand hearts.
Uh-huh.
Thank you.